Good morning, everyone. I am Himanshu Tripathi, Assistant Professor in Electronics and Communication Engineering Department. And in today's session, we will discuss about the business idea selection and the innovation with the products. My topic for today's presentation is business idea selection and product innovation. And here in this session, we will talk about how to understand that whether any idea at a given point of time is a potential idea that can be converted into the business, and how we can implement the innovation, specifically talking about the product. So if any startup, if any idea is related to the product based startup, then we'll talk about that, what kind of innovations we can try to implement and what is innovation actually. So let's start our journey. So here in today's session, we'll try to understand, while we are discussing so many things, that how to identify a strong business idea. What are the measures? What are the main parameters which can help us in understanding whether the idea is a strong business idea or it may be a vague idea as such. Then we'll also try to understand that how to evaluate if an idea is worth pushing, whether it is a right idea, we can start our business, our startup with that idea, and how products are innovated. And also we'll conclude the session with why some ideas fails and other scale massively. We need to understand this fact, why it is happening. We often see that one person has started his startup or company and he failed miserably. While using almost the similar kind of idea, another person is starting his or her company, and he is able or she is able to scale that business or startup at a very huge potential. So we'll discuss all these things. Let's try to discuss one by one. The first thing is that every great business begins with a problem. We always listen whenever we want to start business that what is your problem statement. When we try to pitch our idea to someone else, the common question is that what is your problem statement? What is the pain point actually? So every great business begins with a problem or problem statement. We, as an entrepreneur, we need to be able to identify what is the problem, what is the pain point, and if we are understanding the root cause of that problem, then certainly we may be able to create a huge business around that solution, which is solving that particular problem that we have identified here. So the number one spot goes to the spot the problem. We need to be able to understand what the problem is. If we are simply complaining without understanding the root cause, then maybe we can miss the understanding about the problem statement. Then the second step that requires in this journey is crystallizing the idea. If we are getting the problem statement, we need to be able to crystallize the idea. That is what I am again and again speaking, that we need to be able to root cause, understand the root cause of the problem. Then we need to try build the product. So this is the simple journey. We can start from there and we can go up to this third point. The first point states that we need to be able to spot the problem. Then we need to try for crystallizing the idea. What is the core product strength? That will be defined by the crystallizing the idea, and then we need to build the product. We need to convert our idea or our thought into a viable product so that consumer can use it, and in return we can scale up, or we can earn money, or we can scale up our own startup. Here are a few examples that I want to talk about to understand the previous slide content. The first example is from the Uber. We all know about Uber. Uber is a company which is providing app-based cab services. So from where Uber got the idea to provide these kind of the services? There is a very small story behind that. The founders of Uber were in Paris, I believe, or somewhere else in the foreign country, In the late night, they were waiting for a cab or they were trying to book a cab so that they can go their home, and they faced that problem that it is not as easy to get a cab or to get a reliable taxi service during the odd hours, but they realized that it is not easy to get a taxi service during the peak hours as such. So in that matter, they find out the problem statement. That was the first step that we were talking about, that we need to be able to spot the idea. So they spotted that idea that there is a need to get the taxi service, and finally they build Uber based one app, mobile application, and from where the users can book the taxi very easily or the cab very easily. Similarly, Airbnb has noticed the problem statement that hotels were available at that time, but uh, during the peak season, rooms were in always a shortage. So they try to convert that. If you are having a house and you have a spare room, you can convert your spare room into the hotel stay. That was the main problem statement that Airbnb has spotted, and then they tried to build up their business idea on the top of that uh, problem statement. Similarly, Oyo, we all know about Oyo, and Oyo is a company which is known for providing budget accommodations almost in every city, in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and every city Oyo is present nowadays. So they spotted the problem statement that the budget hotels which are available, they have no consistency, they have no reliability among the users. There's no guarantee that the services, whatever they are offering, they will be provided or not. So they tried to remove the inconsistencies on those available budget hotels, and on the top of that idea, the Oyo has built their own business. Last but not the least, in this category, there is one more player, that is Zepto, that is very popular in today's world. So, similar to these stories, like we have talked about Uber, we have talked about Airbnb and Oyo, Zepto is having the same story. They noticed that the founder of Zepto noticed that the people, especially the millennial age, who is living into these metro cities, they may be working, they may be studying, or they may be doing something. They are always giving priority to the speed of delivery. And the problem was the slow delivery. If we are booking, we are using online platforms. We were using at that time online platforms. And if we are booking one product and it is showing us that the product may be delivered in next 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days, they, as a consumer, they were not happy, the millennials, the consumers. So in this regard, Zepto has identified this problem statement, and they decided to build their startup, their own business model, only on this particular concept, that they are not doing anything new, they are not doing any product innovation, but they focused that we will remove the slow delivery problems and we will try to deliver product as fast as possible. We know that in 10 minutes or 8 minutes or 15 minutes, if you are ordering from the Zepto, your product is going to be delivered. So these were few stories. On the basis of that, I was trying to explaining the importance of business idea. Every business idea begins with a problem. So we have seen that we have discussed about 4 different kind of businesses. They spotted their problem, they crystallized their idea, and they finally built their product. And we all know that all these startups we are talking about, they're all the successful startups nowadays. Now the next thing is idea versus opportunity versus the problem solution fit. So is there any difference between idea, opportunity, and the problem solution fit? Yes, there is a difference between them. I have written here, not every idea is an opportunity, and not every opportunity is a perfect problem solution fit or is a perfect thing that on the basis of that we can start our own startup. Idea is entirely different. Idea is only the problem statement. It depends that what kind of solution we are offering. It depends that how many other people are sharing the same pain point. People really require these kind of solutions that we are building. People really care about these kind of problems or their solutions. Opportunity means we understood that people are looking out some services or some product, some kind of product. So in that case, if we are thinking that this is an opportunity to start a business, then we might be wrong. There may be a limited need of that particular product, seasonal need it may be. And problem solution fit means now the solution that we are going to create is a perfect fit for that particular problem, and people really need that solution, and they will buy, and our startup can be built on the top of that. The first thing is the business idea we talked about. It is always an unvalidated concept. If we are not validating the business idea, that means it is a vague idea. For validation, what things are required? For validation, we need to create a quick MVP or prototype in some cases. Then we need to go to the consumers and get their feedbacks that whether that solution is completely fulfilling their needs or not. The second point is the business opportunity that we talked about. Business opportunity means market tested idea. It has been tested already that this thing is going to be required, or people are looking for that kind of solution. And the third thing is problem solution fit. That problem solution fit is consumers are preferring your solution. So any startup should be concerned about this third category, that is the problem solution fit. As a startup, as an entrepreneur, we are always advised, or we should always be keen to understand what is the problem solution fit. Whatever the solution we are creating to solve that particular problem is actually being admired or not by the consumers. That will basically decide whether your startup is going to scale or not. Now, the next question that we have discussed in the very beginning of this session, why most ideas fail without validation. This is a very common concern among the startups, among the entrepreneurs. Most of the time it has been seen, I have a rough figure, that 42% of the startup fail without validation. Why these startups fail? Because most of the time it happens that whatever the product, whatever the service they are working on, or they are designing, they are building, there is no actual market need for that particular product or service. If you will be validating as a startup, as an entrepreneur, if you will be validating your idea, your product, or your service with the consumers in the very beginning of your startup journey, then you will easily understand whether that product or idea is actually being needed into the market, or you are doing some mistake. So that is the very first point, that is the very first reason that why most of the startup fails, if they are not getting validated their ideas. The second reason is startups may be having the wrong assumptions. Most of the time it has been seen that as an entrepreneur, especially the entrepreneurs who are coming from the technology background, they may be fascinated, they may be very much biased for a particular technology. They are trying to build solution, and they are forcing their team or their startup to build a solution by using a particular technology or particular set of resources. But from the view of the business, we can easily understand that users are never concerned about the technology that we are using. Users are concerned always about the perfect problem solution fit. They are always concerned that whether your product or your service is going to solve their problem or not. It doesn't matter which technology or which kind of resources you are using while building your product. Yeah, these things may be helpful if you are trying to build a brand for your startup, but the first thing that is needed before building a brand, that your product should be of capable of getting used by the consumers in practical scenarios. So the wrong assumptions may be a big reason for startups to get failed. Then the premature scaling. It is also a very big reason for failure of the startups. Startups try to scale very rapidly. We have all seen, I've also seen these kind of situations because today's era is the digital era, and with the help of social media, we think that we can scale our startup overnight, and we can basically offer our solutions, our services pan India, across the country, across the globe as such. Most of the services are of this kind of nature. They are the digital services or the digital products they may be. But it is always advised to young entrepreneurs or the new entrepreneurs that this kind of scaling should not be happen, because first you need to validate your product, your service in a local community or in a local region. The major point or the basic point around this is that if something is not happening right, if something is going wrong, in that local community, you may be able to understand that this feature needs to be revised, or this feature needs to be improved. So that kind of premature scaling can get a bad name for your startup, or it may be a big reason for failure of your own startup. And this is the biggest reason of failing of any company, a startup or something, because if companies are ignoring the feedback, then there's no scope ahead. There is a common rule that if you're 7 out of 10 customers or 5 out of 10 customers are complaining about any feature, you need to immediately look upon those things, that how to improve these things. If you're ignoring the feedbacks from the consumers, then slowly or gradually your startup is going to sink. So in brief, I want to tell you the 3 things that these are the suggestions for the startups: that build small and test very fast. As soon as you can validate your product idea, your project service idea, you should do it, and try to learn at very early stage of your product development or of your startup. So if you are following these things, the probability of getting success in your startup is going to high. The next thing, we want to talk about the frameworks and the tools where to great business ideas come from. So these are the few resources. If you are seriously looking for any startup, you can basically work on these. These are very few resources, and the list is endless. The first resource is the market gaps. If you are looking seriously observing the market, and you can easily get the underserved segments. It may be the delays in service, like we talked in the case of Japto. It may be irregularities or inconsistencies, like we talked about OYO, and there may be so many other market gaps. Then the second thing is the pain points. This is the fundamental rule of starting your company or your startup. You need to find out the pain points. What are the pain points? It may be your pain point, and then you need to understand how many other people are sharing the same pain point. The third step in this criteria is that you need to get validated this idea or the solution, that whatever you are planning, that how many users are actually ready to or willing to pay for that particular solution. If you are getting the positive answers from for all these 3 questions, what is your pain point and how many other people's are sharing the same pain points, and whether they are willing to pay for that solution that you are building, then definitely this may be a good source of getting a business idea, and you can start your startup on that particular business idea. The third resource or the framework may be the technology push. You can think about a new trend in the market, new technology in the market, and you can try to build the already existing service with the help of that technology, and you can here discover the new possibilities for your own startup. Screening framework, we need 3 lenses to screen any idea. If you are having any idea, your team has generated any idea, you want to screen your idea, you want to know that whether this idea is going to work for your startup or not, then these are the 3 things, 3 features or 3 lenses with which you need to see your idea. The first lens is the feasibility The feasibility is concerned about, can we build this? Is it actually feasible to build that kind of solution that we are talking about, or is it a hypothetical solution that we cannot build? Someone else can build, but we cannot build. We cannot manage uh, the development of that particular product or service. So the first thing we need to understand the feasibility. The second thing is the viability. Should we build it? Whatever the resources may be required, whatever the, it may be physical resources, monetary resources, or the human resources, this solution is actually worth to invest all these resources into it, whether consumers are going to purchase this thing, consumers are willing to pay for these kind of solutions. That kind of test should be done into the viability lens. And the third lens is the desirability. Do people want it? That is the most important question for every startup. Whatever you are doing, please try to think that, do people really want your solution? They are waiting for your solution. They are willing to pay for your solution or not. If you are getting positive answers, then go ahead. Success is going to be yours. If you are having any ambiguity into the answers, then please rethink about your idea, about your startup. Then this is a quick checklist, whatever we have discussed so far. While we are going to talk about screening your idea, then the first step is identify the problem. The second step is try to know that it is a perfect problem solution fit, access fit or not. Then validate this idea with the users, and on the basis of these three things, you will get a clear signal whether it is a go or no go. If it is a go, then success. If it is a no go, then rethink about your idea. This is a very simple checklist, and I believe that every startup or every entrepreneur should first analyze their idea with this checklist. Now let's talk about briefly about the innovation. So innovation may be of many type. In many stages of business, there are so many different kind of innovations are available. But here we are going to talk about the product innovation types, and in the product innovation, we are concerned about the incremental innovation and the disruptive innovation. The easiest way of doing innovation is the incremental. This is easy, and disruptive innovation may be more rewarding, but it is coming with more risk. Most of the time we think that if we are doing disruptive innovation, it is going to be more rewarding. Yes, you may be right, but more risk is also involved with this disruptive kind of innovation. So let's quickly try to understand that what is incremental innovation. That means evolutionary improvement, and risks are lower. Incremental means we are adding one feature, we are adding another feature at a later stage. Then in a later stage, we are adding one more feature, and all of a sudden we get to know that, okay, we have developed a new product. This was the story with the mobile phones while they were evaluated or evoluted into the format of smartphones. There were phones, somebody has one added one feature, that may be the MP3 player, then camera, then fast processor, then web browsing, then internet connection, and eventually we got to know that, okay, we have developed a new product and we should call it a smartphone, right? So this was the incremental innovation, and it is very easy, and most of the time startups are recommended to use this incremental innovation approach with their product. But on the other hand, there is a disruptive innovation where you can find out the new markets. Risks are very high, but rewards may be extremely big, or it may be complete failure as well. So disruptive innovation means something that people have never seen or never assumed. You are going to create that kind of service, and you are going to introduce that kind of service into the market. Then there is a huge risk that your customers will understand your product or your service, and they will invest their money into that, or they will straightforward reject your product or service. So these kind of two innovations that we want to talk about. Then mapping the spectrum of innovation, if we talk about that, incremental improvement is the first thing, then the development of your product, and then we can talk about the breakthrough. Incremental improvement means better existing products. Whatever the existing, we are going to make that product better for the consumers. This is the easiest entry point if you are thinking to start your own startup, or if you want to start your entrepreneurial journey. Then market creating means new consumers. We are looking for the new consumers for your product. Architectural means you are reconfiguring the components and you are coming up with some new kind of product. That is also the part of incremental innovation. Then disruptive innovation means overtakes the incumbents, like something is totally new, never heard. So after that innovation landscape, I want to quickly discuss about a case study. And we talked about the Zepto from dorm room to nowadays approximately it is 26,000 crore. Data may be old. And the case study, if we want to know about the Zepto, the first thing, how they identified their problem, they identified the problem statement like time for urban millennials. Urban millennials, they are lacking in time. They don't have time to wait for their groceries or some important stuff to be delivered. We have seen so many advertisements regarding this, that if you forget your charger, you can quickly buy it from some online platform. Then this was the main source of their problem statement, and they identified this problem actually very correctly. Then they validated the demand. They validated demand that 78% would switch for the speed. They basically started some pilot project in one small community. Then they gradually expanded their services. They built their MVP. They started with one dark store and let's say 10 orders per day. This was the learning stage. Then the iterate and scale. That means they have got the data that how people are behaving, what kind of services they actually require in a given span of time, and what kind of the services for that they can wait. So as per their understanding, their learning, they created their whole Zepto model. So as a conclusion, the key takeaways from this session is we understood that we need to start with a problem if we are seriously thinking about startup. Then the second step is, if we are getting the problem statement, then we need to go into the validation before building. Because if you are building and then validating, that means you have already invested the resources. Then innovation is a spectrum. We understood that how we can choose the right kind of innovation for our startup or product. Observe the world around you. It will help you in getting the pain point. Then it is my favorite line. If you have to fail, then fail fast and learn faster actually. So with this, I want to end this session. Thank you very much.